Welcome to a new round of Coffee and Donuts. I'm Frank. I'm the Law Enforcement Training Director here at Armageddon, and this is where I answer your questions. Let's discuss. Hey, before we get started, we answer all questions over on our social platforms, as well as in anything submitted to our internal correspondence through our contact form, which is on our website at armageddonct.com. Also there, you can access our new blog. We're posting new blog posts every single week that go well beyond the hiring process for your entire success and career in law enforcement. Now, I have 3 pre-submitted questions. Let's see what we have. First one, I'm in my early 20s and haven't opened a credit card yet. Will they fail me on my credit check for that? No, what a credit check is looking for your financial responsibility. Have you maintained your financial credit or financial responsibility? Credit is just a way of checking that because most people use credit these days. That's why we have a credit score, whether how you feel about it or not. It is what it is. So most people actually have credit when they don't think so. So even like your early 20s, you might not have established a lot of credit, but maybe you have bought a cell phone, or maybe you have put something on a payment plan or anything along, maybe you have a car payment. All that stuff goes into building credit. And even if you didn't, it can be easily articulated that, hey, I don't use credit cards, or I haven't used credit cards. I've paid for everything with cash. And then what they're going to do is they're going to look into your other financial obligations. Are you paying rent on time? How are you getting your money? Are you using a debit card? What kind of criteria? Do you have a bank account? Because that's going to help you establish credit as well. So all those different types of things. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. A little side note, if you are a very diligent person, me and my wife have been doing this for almost a decade now. Easiest way to build credit, right? As long as you're diligent, as long as you're aware and you're on top of it. Me and my wife put everything on our credit card so we can get the cash back. So it's not free money, but we put everything on our credit card so we can get the cash back. And that's what we use to take a lot of our trips. That being said, it helps us build up our credit and establish credit, and then we pay it off every month before any type of finance charges or any type of interest fees would take effect. So that's one thing, but you need to be on top of it because that's a slippery slope. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm definitely not your financial advisor. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm just showing you what works for me and my wife. Now, next question. How will being rejected from joining the military affect me from getting hired in law enforcement? I was rejected 4 years ago, and I just started the process with my local agency. So this is going to depend on why you were rejected, right? If you were rejected due to a criminal background, that's going to have an immediate effect. If you were rejected due to certain medical conditions, that may not have as big of an effect, but it's going to be a question. One of the questions in your background packet is, have you ever applied or been rejected from the military? And you're going to have to answer truthfully to that because all those records are easily accessible and pretty much public. So the big thing with this is if it was something for a medical, and here's the reason why a lot of people are rejected from the military for medical reasons. Because if you're not deployable, which means if we send you somewhere, you don't need immediate access, but you need to have availability of access to, say, a first world hospital or some type of medical doctor reoccurring appointments. That's not stuff that's going to happen if you're in the Navy on deployment for 9 months to a year on a ship, or if you're deployed overseas to the Middle East or anywhere else in the world that might not have first world accommodations from the medical facility. So at that point in time, and it's not about, oh, well, you could just send me to it. No, you are subject to the needs of the military, which means at that point in time, they're not even going to play that game. Either you're deployable or you're not deployable, and that could cause a medical rejection. Those same principles won't always apply to law enforcement because you're being law enforcement here inside your country, whether that be the U.S., whether that be Canada, whether that be another country that is a first world country. That typically wouldn't have as immediate of effect, but it's going to depend on how you articulate it. So if you poorly articulate that you were rejected from the military, absolutely going to have a negative effect. And for something like the latter of what I just discussed, you'll probably be okay as long as you articulate it properly. But law enforcement does reject for medical reasons as well. So I would need more information to know exactly what the issue would be here, and I don't think you should share that publicly. So you could either go over to what I was discussing either on our contact form in our website on our main page, armageddonct.com, scroll to the bottom, you'll see a contact form. You can send it over to there. All those questions will come to me, and the team will feed them through me, and they are all private. Or, you could jump on a coaching call, discuss it with any of our instructors, right? That's an option. I believe that is down. Those links are down in the description. But yeah, I definitely want to put it out there publicly for everyone. Just keeping that in mind. All right, next question. So I passed the department's PT test, then took the civil service exam, and none of us were told what was next. I'm curious, am I waiting on a phone call or rejection letter? What is the next step? Okay, so let me read that again. I butchered that. I apologize. So I passed the department's PT test and then took the civil service exam, and none of us were told what was next. I'm curious, am I waiting on a phone call / rejection letter? What is the next step? So if you pass the civil service exam, you pass the PT test, congratulations, good job. If you pass the civil service exams, this is going to depend on how they run their testing or how they run their grading criteria. So some departments will run it like this. PT test, if you score high enough in the PT test, the top highest candidates get moved to the written exam. Then the highest candidates from the written exam get moved to the next step, which would be the oral board or maybe background or whatever phase that they're doing it in, right? Or steps. That's one way to do it. Others take the scores from the PT exam and the and the civil service exam, combine them together, give it your average score, and then move those top candidates ahead to the oral boards. And we're just going to say, like, this is typical hiring practice. Next step is the oral board. Those are kind of the two ways you get moved forward. Now, if you fail the civil service exam, then you should get a result fairly soon saying that you're not being moved forward due to the fact that you didn't pass the civil service exam, and when you can retake it. If you did pass, the next steps then at that point in time is whatever they tell you. We have our coaching members in any of our coaching programs, whether that be one-on-one or our group coaching community. We have those individuals wait at least 4 weeks from the date of last contact. So if your last contact was the day you did your civil service exam, man, I'm struggling. No tea this morning. If it's from the last contact you had was the date of your civil service exam, then at that point in time, you would wait 4 weeks and then do a professional follow-up email that Monday, right? I highly encourage it to be an email and trackable, but it needs to be professional, and it needs to not just be like, what's my status? That comes across super aggressive. Background investigators and hiring officials hate it because we get dozens of those, and it just makes us want to just fail you right then and there. And I'm just being honest. We just get so tired. If you're the fifth person that sends me that message today, I'm like, you know what? Put this person at the bottom pile. I don't even want to deal with them. And it might not even be your fault. Maybe I spilled coffee on myself that morning, and I don't drink coffee. But you get what I'm saying. Maybe they spilled coffee. Maybe they didn't sleep because they have a newborn at home. Maybe their boss chewed them out. I don't know. It could be a multitude of anything. Just keep that in mind. Professional follow-up where you're the one trying to help them. If you have our online course, use Leo. He'll help you draft that. What else? Yeah, that would pretty much be it. 4 weeks from the point of last contact. And then, hopefully at that point in time, there's more steps to it, but at that point in time, hopefully you get a follow-up email from them saying, yes, hey, please sit tight, or please, or we're not moving forward with you, or you might get ghosted. It's hard to say. It just depends on those departments. But this is pretty much everything that you can expect in the hiring process. Hope this helps. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.